I wanna tell you all about my Saturday, but before I do, listen, I've just gotta say 60 minutes make up every hour on the clock, and every number is 5 minutes. Tick tock. In 12 groups of 5, 60 minutes make an hour. Now let me tell you of the day that almost went sour. Oh yeah. I was headed to the park. I decided to walk. As I left, I looked up and saw the time on the clock. The shorthand was after 9. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 groups of 5 meant it was 9:25. If you can skip count by 5 until time's 12, there will be no time that you cannot tell. Cannot tell. When the hour hands on a number and the minute hands up, we know it's o'clock, whether breakfast or supper. If the hour hands right between two numbers per se, it's half past the hour on 6:30 that day.
Happy Wednesday, Kipsters! I hope you enjoyed that video with the little pug telling time as much as I did. See if you can find all the tiny little pugs hidden in this video. I know that sometimes watches that we see people wearing look really different. It might look like a digital clock like you see in that first picture, or the clock might just have no numbers at all, or maybe very little numbers. We have to be able to tell time no matter what the clock looks like. So let's see if we can tell time no matter what the clock looks like. I see that this clock only has 4 numbers, but I think we can tell the time by pretending that there are numbers in those empty spaces. Remember, a clock at the very top has the number 12, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 12. So if we think about where that hour hand is pointing to, it looks like it's not pointing to the number 3. Otherwise, it would be facing directly that 3. But now, what number comes after 3? The number 4. So if I pretend that the number 4 was there, and then it goes number 5, then 6, all the way up, I see that this clock is pointing to 4. And because our minute hand, it's pretty easy to tell. It's telling us there's no extra minutes have passed. We can say that it's 4 o'clock. Let's try this next clock without putting the missing numbers in there. Imagine the numbers are missing. So give yourself a few seconds to look at this clock and think about what hour is it showing us with that hour hand. Think carefully. Okay, let's see if you are able to think what hour is our hour hand pointing to. Remember, the numbers go in order and they don't change on a clock. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And what number comes right before 12? 11. So I'm picturing that 11 on that clock, and that helps me know that it is what time? It's 11 o'clock. And we know that no extra minutes have passed. Just looking at our minute hand, it's on 12. So it's only 11 o'clock. So I see that letter A, it's asking us to figure out what time is it. I am not going to draw the numbers out. We're going to imagine what number the hour hand is touching. So if I think about what a clock looks like with all the numbers there, I know that it starts 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 12. And I'm looking at that hour hand there. It's not pointing to 3, but it's pointing to the number right before 3. What number comes right before 3? 2. And because our minute hand is on 12, we know no extra minutes have passed. So it is 2 o'clock. Letter A shows us what time? 2 o'clock. Let's do letter B. This one is even trickier because it has no numbers written at all. But I see that there seems to be a lot of lines around this clock, and I'm thinking that these are the numbers that we would usually find on the clock. Do you remember how many numbers are on a clock? 12. So we would say that this is 12, and we look at the picture, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up back to 12. Let's look at our minute hand first. That's the longest hand that you see in the picture. Do you know which number it's pointing to? It's pointing to 6. Ooh, and what does it mean when our minute hand is pointing to 6? It means 30 minutes have passed. So I know that when I say the time, 30 minutes will have passed. But now I have to figure out where this hour hand is pointing to because I'm looking at it, Kipsters, and it seems to be a little tricky. Let's go back and count the lines and see what number it might be on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see that hour hand is not touching 4 and it's not touching 5 like you see in the picture. And it seems to be kind of a little close to 5. But I know that the minute hand is showing us 30 minutes. And remember, when a minute hand is showing us 30 minutes, the hour hand is always between two numbers because it's halfway through that hour. So if it just passed 4, it's not 5 o'clock yet. So that means we're still at 4:30. So letter B is showing us 4:30. All right, let's do letter C. Think really carefully where that minute hand, the bigger hand that you see, is pointing to. Do you know where it's pointing to? It's pointing to 12. So we know that 00 is going to be in our time. And now thinking about where that hour hand is pointing to, I'm imagining it, and you can even point to that clock and say, okay, 12, and then it goes backwards, 11. It's not pointing to 11. What comes right before 11? 10. So it's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock for letter C. Let's see if you can do letters A, B, and C all by yourself. So pause the video so that you can check your work and check, did you figure out the times no matter what the clocks look like? Be really careful with letter B. Even though it doesn't have any numbers, you can still imagine what numbers are around that clock. You should have paused the video to try and figure out letters A, B, and C. The answers are shown there. Now you can check your work and check, did you figure out what times each clock was showing us? If you did, amazing if you were able to figure out all the times for these clocks. That means you're now an expert on telling time. See you tomorrow, Gipsters.